Hey everyone, welcome to day 4 where we're going to look at managing your method today. And in case any of you think I look today as though I've had a little bit of a facelift or gone for Botox or something, I thought I'd have a little bit of fun on Facebook with one of the filters that you can put on that actually like smooths out all your wrinkles and everything. It's really quite nice, and it makes you look as though you've had Botox in your lips. So I just thought I'd have a little bit of fun on day 4. Alexa, it's great to see you, and I really want to thank you so much for all of your comments in the group. You have added so much value by asking the questions that you've asked. And I just wanted to also share with you that a little bit earlier I saw a post by Belinda on her timeline that today it's 28 years since she became her own boss, and boy, what a great boss she's got. So there's our laugh for today. So your exercise coming out of yesterday was to create your content wheels, and I'm thrilled to see how that has really shifted you. And a couple of people have made comments about maybe struggling a little bit with inspiration. So I do want to chat about being inspired, and I'm also going to send you a link to what I think is the most fantastic meditation. It's a messaging meditation that was written by a top copywriter, and I have found every single time that I have been stuck for what to create in terms of content, when I have listened. Hi Karthik, it's lovely to welcome you to the group, and thanks for joining us online. But every time I have been stuck for something to say and I've listened to this meditation, it has been amazing. Hi Claire. In terms of how it's just stimulated my creative thinking process. I don't know what it is about this meditation, and I hope one day to be able to replicate it, but I will drop it as a link in the group once I finish this video. So I've also asked you to make a commitment in public in this group to some goals or some things that you're going to shift and change in terms of what you're going to commit to for the future. Hi B, it's lovely to see you as well. And there's nothing like making a public commitment. And when I first, I'd been doing live videos for a while, but I joined a group where it focuses specifically on the methodology behind creating live videos. And one of the things that we had to do was to make a commitment to in some way using live videos more in terms of how we market ourselves and our offerings. So in that particular group, I made a public commitment to go live once a week with a free training, which I've been doing since then. And having made that commitment, I have felt that I am accountable for showing up for that on a regular basis, because what does it say about me and my integrity if I don't stick to a commitment that I've made in public? And another thing about making commitments to things and putting stuff out there, I wanted to share another personal experience that I had. I've developed a self-study online course for coaches on how to find and define your niche. But very bravely and stupidly, before I had even developed the course material, recorded the videos, done the workbooks and that, I started advertising it, and somebody actually bought into it. And when I saw this payment pop up in my email notifications, it was like, oh my goodness, I don't even have a course. Sorry, I had an alarm to go off to tell me when it was 1 o'clock, and it's just gone off at 1:05, which is a bit odd. Anyway, so somebody signed up for this course and actually paid for it before I'd even created it. And there are a lot of course creators out there who say that this is actually a really good thing to do, that you should sell your services in advance, whether it's a structured kind of coaching process or program, or it might be an online course, it might be a workshop that you're planning on running online or in the offline world. You should get out there and actually sell it first before you've even created it, to see if there's a demand for it. Well, what happened was, at the time that I marketed this particular online course for the first time, I was away from home for a whole week, and I was still studying and didn't have time to actually sit down and create it. So what I ended up doing was contacting the people who had signed up for the course directly, and I refunded them 100%. And when I had developed the material, I gave them access to the whole course free of charge. And I actually ended up signing up, well, one of them became one of my coaching clients, because the gesture had obviously really resonated with them, and they, as a result of having done the work with me, wanted to work with me a lot more closely. I see Vanda and Alison have just joined us, so hello, it's lovely to have you both, and thank you, Alison, again for all of your questions and for all your action online. Now, Alexa asked a really, really important question in the group, and it wasn't something that I was planning on talking about today, but I did spend quite a bit of time, Alexa, I have to admit, stalking you online last night after you'd asked this question, so that I could answer it in the group in a way that was relevant for you. So I want to differentiate between, there are those of us who are coaches who are offering our services to private individuals, and it's going to be private individuals who will be paying for our services, and there are those of us who are offering our services to companies and the corporate environment, and so the decision making process is quite different. And Alexa, from what I can see, your primary target market is the corporate environment. So you work with implementing programs and solutions from the shop floor right up to executive level. And you asked me a question about how to structure your business pyramid and how to create your lead magnet, then your tripwire, your mid-level offer, and your high-level or signature offer. So I was giving some thought to what you could structure, and I'm sorry that my notes are actually all over the place. So what I would like to ask you is, you need to think very carefully about who your decision maker is going to be, because you want to create a lead magnet, something that is going to attract people to working with your business. You want to create a lead magnet that is going to be appropriate for your decision maker. And if you're working in the corporate or company space, it's probable that your decision maker is going to be somebody in human resources, learning and development, but it's not necessarily going to be the end person or the end client that you're going to be working with, the team that you might be working with. So you need to structure your lead magnet or freebie to talk to your decision maker, and you would need to look at what issues or challenges they are facing in terms of the role that they occupy in the organizational context, and then talk about or offer some kind of solutions for that organizational context. And one of the thoughts that came to my mind was the possibility of actually creating a quiz where you ask people to, you know, select from a couple of different choices, and then so the quiz would have questions based on the symptoms that are appearing in the corporate environment or appearing for your clients. And the same thing can be applied to if you're working privately one-on-one with individual clients. And then the answers to, depending on the combination of answers, you have 5 different outcomes or broad scenarios with suggestions or solutions that you can offer. So it might be things like workshops to teach team leaders or supervisors emotional intelligence, just, you know, as a, pardon me, suggestion. You might also, one of your other options would be team coaching for a cross-functional team to break down a silo mentality that we often find in the corporate environment. Then your tripwire offer in this particular instance could be anything with a value up to 2,500 Rand, and it might be, and I'm talking specifically about the stalking that I've done with Alexa. It might be a low-cost assessment or report with recommendations that you go in and do for, you know, a much lower rate than what you would normally offer. But at least this is giving a person a low-level, low-risk way of working with you. Now, the other thing that I remember from my time in working in a corporate environment and being in a you know, senior role was that I had a kind of discretionary budget that I could spend without having to get sign off or approval from somebody who was more senior for me. So, I mean, I'm talking back to, you know, a number of, like, more than 20 years ago, but my discretionary budget where I could make decisions without getting anybody else's approval or buy-in for my decisions, my discretionary budget used to be around the 5,000 Rand mark, where I could, you know, go ahead with something. So you want to aim your tripwire below this level so that somebody could say, okay, I'd like to bring Alexa in to do this assessment in my corporate environment, and you know what, I don't have to ask anybody else's permission in order to do so. I'm interested in seeing what she identifies and what solutions she comes up with. Your mid-level offer also needs to sit within this area of the discretionary budget that this individual might have. So again, your mid-level offer might be a half-day workshop, or you develop an online self-study course based on workshops that you have run in the past, and they might be on, you know, developing shop floor supervisory skills, increasing productivity. You know, I'm not quite sure what workshops you did mention on your website that you do run workshops, but you know, so you do have material there, and I'm sure that there's something that you could quite easily kind of downscale or package into an offer that sits between the 5,000 and 10,000 Rand mark. And then your signature offer would be where you know that you can put a process or package together aimed at different levels within the workplace. So you might have a 6-week progressive package that you aim at executives, where during the 6 weeks they know that they will work with you on A, B, C, D, E, and F, and they will come out with these results at the end of the day, again based on the kind of work that you have done in the past. So I hope that's been helpful. I can tell you from my own example, my own business pyramids, I've now developed a couple of different lead magnets. So some of them, the one is my 5 insider secrets, which I sent via email yesterday, although some of you have told me that you're not receiving your email, so I will be looking into that later on today. I've also got the 1 month's worth of social media content that you can, that infographic on how to create 1 month's worth of social media content, you know, from just one original piece of content or work. Another free freebie that I've developed is for anybody who's interested in doing videos. I've developed an infographic that shows you how you can take a live video like this and kind of repurpose it. So, put it in through a free online translation and use that to then create, a large article that you can write and post on your blog, and then dividing that blog article up into a whole lot of smaller articles, and perhaps, taking out a couple of quotes that you can then post on social media. So those are just some examples of my lead magnets that I've got. Then moving into my tripwire offer. So my tripwire is my my course, my standalone course on Find and Define Your Niche. My mid-level offer is where I've actually added a component to that where you can, based on a training that I did on how to get clients and make sales. And then my signature offer is my 12-week one-on-one coaching program on how to market your practice without spending a cent. So I hope that I've now catered for both kind of sides and ends of the spectrum, and I'm glad that was helpful, Alexa. And again, apologies for all the online stalking that I did to just try and get the information. Alison has made a comment, and Alison comes from an HR background. She's a very experienced HR practitioner, and she said that's correct. The decision maker in the in the corporate environment is usually HR or the business owner, and the client is in the broader team. So speak to the pain they might feel from staff issues that they have to deal with, and then you build your response to that. So thank you so much. It's very valuable, Alison, to have that insight from somebody who's been on that side of the fence. Getting back to, so my notes are a little bit all over the place today, so please bear with me. But I had a great conversation this morning with somebody who is struggling with the concept of creating her content wheels, and who she needs to create content wheels for. Now, she's working in the corporate environment. She specializes in developing leadership skills, management skills. Strategy is also one of her areas of speciality. But one of her other content wheels actually needs to be for the decision maker in the corporate environment, and to create a whole wheel around a topic or problems or issues that they are experiencing as, being in the decision maker position, and then kind of the spin-offs to that. And for those of you who weren't on the live yesterday, when I talk about the content wheel, I'm just going to put it back up to the camera, and hopefully you can see it. So at the center would be, if you're a coach, you would have, say, coaching at the center, and then spinning off for that, it might be, we know that coaching helps to develop thinking agility and thinking capability. Coaching helps to develop self-awareness and emotional intelligence. So each of the little subtopics that you could write articles on would talk to those individual or the smaller topics within the broader coaching sphere. So again, I hope that is helpful. You mustn't forget, if your client is a decision maker in the corporate environment, you mustn't forget that you actually need to engage with those people. And again, I work with a consultant who, the people that he put a proposal forward to this company, and the people that he would actually have been doing the work with and physically dealing with on a day-to-day basis, had completely bought into the solution that he was proposing. In fact, even the CEO of the company was kind of, in his corner. But what had just happened slightly before this was that this company had sold 51% of its shares and ownership to a BEE partner, an investor. And when it came to making the final decision about whose solution to use, the BEE partner investor actually put their foot down and said that they wanted to use their own supplier that they had been working with for a number of years in their own business. And so this consultant, in retrospect, should have looked at the broader stakeholders that they need to deal with and engaged in stakeholder engagement beyond just directly the team that he thought would be involved in the implementation of this solution. So it was quite a big lesson. And again, I'm trying to bring to your attention the fact that there's a broader, if you're not dealing directly with individual one-on-one clients, there is broader stakeholder engagement that your content needs to meet the needs of. So it's also highlighting how incredibly important it is for us to identify who our clients are. And actually, we might have more than one client that we need to be talking to, more than one client that we need to really nail down around what their issues and concerns and pains are and what results they are looking for, so that we make sure that our content is appropriate and that we have customer journeys for those different client groups. And I came across some research on a website called HubSpot, which is for people in the online marketing space, where it shows that there is anything up to 7 different people who might be involved in making the end decision in a corporate or business-to-business environment. So that is, it's quite a startling statistic to know that you need to be aware that you can have anything up to 7 different stakeholders involved in the decision-making process. And you saw in the case of that consultant that I was speaking about earlier, that one of the decision makers had the kind of almost final say in the matter, and it was somebody that the consultant hadn't built a relationship or engaged with in any way. So who is your decision maker? And make sure that you are talking to them. So my question for you today, my challenging question for you today is, who of you have ever participated in Zoom calls or webinars, business calls or webinars, group Zoom calls? Who of you have coached your clients online? Who of you have used Zoom GoToMeeting? You know, there's a whole lot of, I think Loom can even offer the same thing. WhatsApp video. Who of you have used any of these tools for business before? And let me just scroll down and see. No answers yet. Well, I know that there's about a 30-second delay in Facebook groups, so I'm sure that the answers are going to be popping up any minute now to say that most of you, yes, thanks Alison, attended and coached and facilitated training using Zoom. Vanda, you have used Zoom, you've attended Zoom meetings. So you've actually, in reality, in real life, you have appeared. Alexa, thank you. Michelle Lowe, thank you. I didn't see you come on earlier, so thanks for joining us. And Michelle says she participates in Zoom, Team, Skype and WhatsApp videos all the time. Belinda, I've used Zoom and WhatsApp video for individuals and groups. And Claire, I've attended and coached via technology. Here's a truth bomb, people. You have all been on video. And if you were the person who was hosting the Zoom meetings, you could have recorded those to create your own videos. So for any one of you who tells me that you are hesitant or uncomfortable about appearing on live video, I'm afraid I've just scuppered that excuse as well. So I do want to get you guys thinking differently about going online and creating videos. You have done it. You've done it successfully. You've done it in a comfortable space, and you should have some confidence in terms of how successful those various meetings were and turned out. So please, I want you to add eventually. Yeah, thanks, Alison. Yeah, I did. I caught you out there. So I want you to add creating videos for your business to your bucket list, because you don't have an excuse. Yes, Alexa, thanks for that rude awakening. Sorry for you. So what is the difference between doing these online coachings and Zoom calls and recording videos? So we spoke yesterday about creating an email an email funnel, a sales funnel. Well, what about creating a whole series of videos that you can actually embed into your emails now, so that people can get a feeling for you, build a relationship with you, and start really feeling who you are and what you're all about. And again, I want to say to all of you that in the online space, so emails are a slightly different kettle of fish, but mostly in the online space, there's a lot of safety, because there's very little that you can't go back and edit or delete, revise, unpublish, change. You actually have a lot of flexibility in the online environment to change any things that you're not happy about. So yes, lovely. And there have been some more comments. So Alison says, my goal, and I'm committing here, is to record my live workshop as a series of videos so I can take my course online. And I started with my wheel this morning and bought a second-hand tripod off Facebook Marketplace. Good for you. That's fantastic. I'm so excited. Claire says, I put my big girl panties on this morning and submitted a video to Lionesses of Africa in response to their request for one. That's fantastic. I don't know if it's only for lionesses, but maybe you want to share that in the group, or when it is published, just share it in the group so that we can all see it. And yes, Alison's saying, keep us in the loop, please. So going back yesterday to your content wheels, one of the places that you can get a lot of inspiration for how you can break down your central content topic into smaller topics, there's a fantastic website called Answer the Public. And they used to have a grumpy old man on the front, like really fierce looking grumpy old man, and maybe somewhere they saw me posting about him, because they've changed it to a much better looking man when you first go onto the website. But what you can do is you can put your search topic in. So in my case it would be coaching niche, and it gives you a whole lot of questions aggregated from Google searches on what people are searching for around your topic, and those can then form inspiration for you for your smaller spokes in the wheel. Also look at the suggestions that Google gives you when you put topics into the search bar. And another place that you can get more ideas for your wheel is to look at topics that are currently trending on Twitter, and having a look to see if there's anything that you can add to the content that you could create. Getting back to videos though, those of you who have now shifted your mindsets into a slightly more positive space about creating pre-recorded videos, because that's a nice safe thing to be able to do. Here's some practical suggestions. Okay, so make an early morning appointment with your hairdresser and go and get your hair blown dry, or there are these salons that you can go to now where they just offer for about 150 Rand. You can go and have your hair blown out, styled and blown dry. Make an appointment. MAC, the makeup people, you can actually book an appointment to go and have special occasion makeup done, or have a makeup lesson and they experiment on you with their makeup. But make an appointment with a MAC makeup consultant on the same day, just after your blowout, and get your makeup done by a professional if you're not comfortable with doing makeup or not used to doing it. And then sit down, come home and do a video recording marathon. So create your scripts, create your topics, and just sit down and be prepared to record throughout the course of the day. You can very easily create 5 videos in one day using this methodology. And here's a personal story of mine. The first time I ran an online challenge, I posted pre-recorded trainings first thing in the morning, and then I would come on live later on in the day or in the evening and just comment and give feedback on what everybody had worked on during the day. And so that the pre-recorded videos didn't look as though they'd all been made on the same day, I would record a video, rush through to the bedroom, go and change into a different outfit, record the next video, rush through to the bedroom, change into the next outfit, and so on. So there's method. There are ways of practically overcoming every excuse that you could possibly have about safely creating material that shows you up in a 3D kind of way. So I wanted to share with you a wonderful information that I came across when I was studying at Stellenbosch last year, and this is by Albert Ellis, and he was looking into the core beliefs that people hold, and he identified that almost without exception there are 3 core beliefs that everybody holds about the world. It doesn't matter what your circumstances are. The first belief is I must be perfect. The second belief is others must like me. And the third belief is that life should treat me well. So if you feel that you have to be perfect in every single thing that you do in terms of the content, how you show up online, if you're going to show up in person online, know that other people who are sitting on the receiving end of whatever you're putting out are also holding those same beliefs about themselves, that they have to be perfect, that they can't venture out of their comfort zone and experiment with whatever it is that you are doing to show up and be more visible online, because they have to be perfect. They also are holding this belief that other people must like them and that life should treat them well. So if everyone is holding these same beliefs, and say you sat down with a client and your client said, okay, my issue that I want to bring into this coaching conversation today is my belief that I have to be perfect before I apply for that job, or I have to be perfect before I take this next step in my life, or move on or shift. What would you as a coach say to them? So I want to turn that back on you and say, if you would say to your coaching client, well, you don't have to be perfect in order to be able to take this next step, then you need to be able to say that to yourself, that you don't have to be perfect in order to take the next step. If your client is continually concerned about how everybody is going to receive them and whether or not people are going to like them, or I know that in coaching conversations we often deal with the relationships that our clients have with people around them and the concerns that they have about the other people. So again, what I'm trying to get, the point I'm trying to get across to you is, if we are all holding these beliefs about ourselves, the people who are on the receiving end are holding exactly the same beliefs. And if our clients brought these beliefs into a coaching conversation, there's a certain kind of conversation that we'd be having with them. And so I want to challenge you to have that same conversation with yourself. So what would you take out of, how would you behave differently if you were able to overcome these possibly self-limiting beliefs? And how does this translate into you overcoming your fear and anxiety about how you show up online? So yesterday I spoke about 7 essential marketing platforms that I think that every single coach should have on their list of places that they intend to show up or create. And the first one was industry directories. Again, Alexa asked for a suggestion about what kinds of directories. So I think we need to be in the directories of our professional bodies. We in South Africa, there's a directory called coachdirectory.coza. Any coaching related professional directories. And why I'm suggesting this to you is because these companies do all the hard work of search engine optimizing for search results, like, you know, when people are looking for an online coach in South Africa, for example, or an online coach who works with a certain type of person, so an executive coach, a corporate, a leadership coach, a strategy coach, whatever. These companies are already doing an enormous job of making sure that they come up top in the Google search results. So by making sure that your profile is in their directories, you're already, like, half your work is done for you in terms of search engine optimization. Karina, welcome, and it's lovely to see you joining us. I'm just going through the comments here. Alison, you said your video bounced. Can I repeat the name of where to go to look? Oh, you're talking about for inspiration for... thanks, Claire. It's Answer the Public. AnswerThePublic.com is the website. It's the most fantastic website. Hello, Silas. Lovely to see you again, and I hope that you're learning a lot. Vanda says, since I've made peace with the fact that I'm not perfect and that everything I do is not perfect, I procrastinate far less. Now I just do it. You know, none of us are ever going to be perfect. So Alison suggesting, as a coach or mentor, there's Commensa, Coaches and Mentors of South Africa. And a lot of corporates are now looking for coaches to be accredited with Commensa. So it's part of your unique selling proposition as a professionally qualified and accredited coach. And so Alison here is referring to going through the accreditation process, which is really like a seal of approval or a stamp of approval in terms of your abilities, experience, and portfolio of evidence in how you coach. Michelle says online, she previously felt that the online space was this extensive, endless, open space. And thank you, Megan, for helping us see that we can define certain boundaries and spaces online that are suitable for us. That is such an insightful observation, Michelle, and thanks for making that comment. Because yes, we have a lot of safety online. We can go back and change things that we're not happy with. We can update stuff. We can also block people that we don't want following us, or people who become pests online. And if you even if you go out into a crowded, normal, physical, public space, you will attract attention in some way or another. And so the wonderful thing about the online space is you have so much more control about who you allow to pay attention to you and who you can target. There's some questions about Commensa or the ICF. So the ICF is an international body, the International Coach Federation. They also have a coach credentialing process where you submit a portfolio of evidence and demonstrate your competence and capabilities as a coach. And again, it's just ways of showing your clients that you are prepared to submit yourselves to scrutiny by professional bodies, and to be a little bit vulnerable around your coaching practice in order to be deemed to be competent. And most of the professional bodies around the world have about 3 different levels of competence based on your experience, your expertise, the amount of time that you've been coaching, the level at which you coach. So there's normally like an entry level, an intermediate level, and then a master level. And there's a little conversation going on between Alison and Vanda. So going back to listing in online directories, it needs to be the very first thing that you do. The other thing that I want you to become more aware of is that there's a prediction that by the end of this year, 80% of searches online are going to be voice searches. So like people saying, hey, and I'm going to spell it out because the last time I did this in the live video it activated it, but hey, Google, and then it makes that search engine live and you can dictate to it what you wanted to search for. Sorry, but yeah, as I said, the last time I said it out loud, it activated it on my phone, and I know that one of the people who was watching the video said that it activated the online search on that particular search engine on their phone as well when they were watching the video, so hence my spelling lesson. But the point that I'm trying to make about verbal searches is that you're more likely to use a longer, more descriptive search in your verbal search. So if you are looking for a pizza restaurant, if you just typed in pizza restaurants, you might not go to all the time, effort of typing in pizza restaurant that delivers pizza free of charge in the Durban area, as an example. But if you're just doing a voice search, you probably will go to that additional trouble to be that much more specific in terms of your search. So, pardon me, what I'm trying to encourage you to do is to list your business. There's a thing called Google Places, and to list your business on Google Places, because that is also going to help you get found. If people are looking for coaches who work in a particular area, who work in a particular way or with particular clients, you can put all of this in your Google Places description, and it will also help you come up in the searches. I've also seen a lot of trend forecasters saying that coming out of the post-coronavirus or moving into a post-coronavirus area, we are going to see an enormous trend towards localization rather than globalization, and people shifting back to working with people on a local basis, with suppliers in particular on a local basis. So, be encouraged by that, and make sure that you always do include your location, because it's not going to necessarily be restrictive. You're always able to offer yourself your services virtually, so you can be completely flexible in terms of how you offer yourself online. Silas says, I'm so happy to be learning new things and to keep on the good work. We're so thrilled to have you here, Silas. So now getting back to the content wheels, and there have been some great content wheels posted in the group. Thank you. And I'm glad that this has helped to give some of you a bit of a kind of kickstart and a head start in terms of wrapping your head around how to create content and how to focus your content. So one of the ways that you can use your content wheel is in social media content marketing. We often talk about what we call cornerstone or pillar or foundation content, and this is a piece of content. This would be an article that would be anything between 1,500 to 5,000 words long, and your goal from a social media content strategy perspective would need to be to put out one of these pieces of foundation content every single month. And what you would do is, so if you took your content wheel that you've created, your introduction would be on whatever it is that's at the center of that wheel in your hub. And then I'm going to use my own, one of my own wheels as an example. So because I work, love working in coaching niche, in my introduction I would talk broadly about a coaching niche, and then I would have different paragraphs on things like why should you niche, what is a good niche, how do you define your niche, is your niche enough, should everyone niche, when should you niche, so answering the question about at what point in your business should you niche, what happens as a result of defining your niche, but you get I'm sure you get the sense of what I'm saying. And then during the course of the month, you can take each one of those individual paragraphs and work them into smaller, shorter articles, like 3-paragraph articles that you can then publish also on your blog, but on LinkedIn, send out, on a weekly basis to your email database, put it on Facebook, but always linking back to the original article, the original big long article that you created. So this is one way of fulfilling that content bucket of creating what we call value posts, and just making one piece of content work really, really hard for you during the course of an entire month. You can also take from your foundation piece of content, you can also take a series of quotes or single sentences and create those quote the pieces, that third bucket that I spoke about yesterday, which is where you post quotes. I mean, why not post quotes that, of work that you've created yourself, or even if you quote other people in your foundation, your cornerstone piece of content, quote those other people, linking back to the original piece of content. You always want to be driving people back to your original piece of content. Again, my rule that I said to you yesterday, always ask yourself, what is my call to action? As a result of this, what action do I want people to take? Do I want them to sign up for my 5-day email training? Do I want them to watch the series of videos that you're now all going to be so much more confident in making? So do you want to direct them to your YouTube channel? Do you want people to sign up for your free lead magnet or book a strategy call with you? What is your call to action? And maybe some of you who are watching now just want to post some examples of calls to action that you've thought about that are different to what I've just suggested. And I see that we've had quite a few new people join us, so I don't know if I'm going to pronounce this properly, but is it Hecton, Roxanne, and Claudia? Welcome to all of you. It's wonderful. I just dropped my microphone, so if I got a little bit muffled then, I unmiked myself. Apologies for that. But welcome to everybody who's just joined us. So that's pretty much the other question I wanted to ask you was what assets and this is going back to I think the first or second day of the training. What assets have you identified that you didn't realize that you had? And have you identified any additional assets? So post them in the group. And if anybody, please, if you have got lead magnets, if you have got email funnels, please feel free, share them with the group. We can all share your different online profiles and what you do on them, what what content you put out there. Give us the opportunity of following and supporting you and joining your online community. I really want to encourage you to use every single opportunity you can to engage with new people in a different way, and this is just one of them. So tomorrow we're going to look at how you maximize your marketing. Vanda says she needs to catch up and she's going to binge watch today. Well, there's never a better time to be binge watching than now. So tomorrow we're going to be looking at maximizing your marketing and cardinal rules. And I just want to, there's one promise that I do not want to make to you. I never want to tell you, I've just unmiked myself again. I never want to tell you or promise or guarantee you that you are not going to have to put in time and effort to market your business, because even if you get to a point where you're able to employ somebody else to do it for you, and Claire, I saw you were talking about that on the group yesterday, about realizing how important it is to market yourself, but always, never kind of putting the necessary time aside to do so that you feel you're not doing it as well as you should be doing it, and maybe you need to put your money where your mouth is and get somebody else to do it for you. But even if you are working with somebody else to handle your marketing, at the end of the day, you're always going to be involved at some level with having to create the content and having to originate create the original content or content ideas. So I never want to promise you that marketing yourself is not going to involve time and effort on your part. It is. And it's a reality as a business owner that you're always going to have to face. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining me today. And I hope you enjoy your binge watching, whoever's going to join Vanda. And I will see you tomorrow at 1 o'clock South African Standard Time online to look at how you can maximize your marketing efforts. Ciao for now.